Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. Thanks for joining in. This is the Papa Joe Show, where Papa Joe knows. I am your host, Papa Joe. Glad you are here. Lots going on today in the world, lots happening with me at home and at work and all that fun stuff at the same time. So today it's been just running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get stuff finished up for the weekend. And guess what, people? It's Friday. Finally Friday. Have you ever thought that how our work schedules throughout the week, I'm just randomly off the cuff here, how we just all the time, we're working 5 days of our week. That's our time. That time is the only asset you can never get back, right? You can always make more money, or crypto. You can always make more things. You can always return the different things that you have, things like that. You can always enjoy or obtain more in life, but you can never make more time. Time is the only asset you will never make more of. And yet we toil every day, work every day. Fell asleep. Tom, you haven't been doing so great, buddy. You need to rest. I'm glad you got some rest. I hope you're feeling better, buddy. No, we spend all of our time, literally most of the time, most people work for somebody else and they make them wealthy and they're using their life to do so. And there's a change coming. The crypto space in general, there's a change coming where we have an opportunity to create, sorry, I forgot to mute my phone, to create generational wealth for our families. And blockchain technology gives us that capability. Cryptocurrency gives us that capability. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about NFTs and DeFi, taking the two and putting them together. Initially, I actually had somebody respond. Initially, the response is, well, why would you do that? And then someone kind of went, oh, I see where you're going there. And where I was going with it is buying something, a house. So you've got the DeFi environment where you want to have that decentralized finance where you can maybe set up, I'm going to go buy a house. You have a platform where you have investors who want to help people buy houses, where I could take 15% of my portfolio and put it into a token or an NFT type of a token, and that token gets used to help somebody buy that house, right? So as that person pays back that mortgage over 10, 15, 30 years, whatever it is, that the investor gets the returns, the individual gets the returns. It doesn't go back to a banking institution. It's kind of a cool concept that I think we may end up seeing in the future, where you can actually buy a house with the DeFi or decentralized finance. And you use an NFT to buy the house or sell the house. So if you took the NFT and if it's a net new build, you'd have all of the, some of you have heard me explain this before. You have all of the building materials listed in that. The NFT is closed, the house is built, it's sold. And then the resales afterwards will have everything that was built in that house. You'd be able to go back and see every nail and where it came from, every screw, every shingle, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of a cool idea. But the conversation was interesting because, it was a public conversation. There was multiple people listening in. It was with Reggie Middleton, actually. It was one of the thing on Twitter or something like that. Litecoin Leader dropped the link somewhere for me to jump in, and I kind of wanted to talk about it, and I asked permission to talk, and he let me come in and have that conversation with him and with a couple other people. So it was really, really cool to hear somebody else in this sphere to actually go and he had some really good points around how it's going to be an uphill battle to get there, and I agree with that. But once humanity kind of says, all right, I've had enough of this banking system, you guys know how to shut that off, right? Stop the banks from doing what they're doing. You stop using it. You start crypto full time. I'm not far from being able to do everything I do in crypto and be full-time with it. I do still work a job, and on purpose. I can take that entire paycheck and make it crypto right now if I want to. There are platforms and tools that you can take your direct deposits, have it go through a filter effectively, and you can take percentages of that, and it can go directly into your crypto holdings, or you can take your entire paycheck and make it go into crypto holdings. So there are ways that you can go full-time crypto and get off of the banking system entirely. But when humanity, sorry, I have something on my thumb there. It's bothering me. You have an entire ecosystem now with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology that can allow you to completely circumvent the banking system as we have it today. Recent news, you've seen the SEC be questioned by Congress or senators to have some kind of rules and regulations around cryptocurrencies. And I've said it, you guys, those of you who have been with me, you know my stance on that. You can't regulate an already regulated system. They're going to try because they got to have their piece of the pie, etc. But this is where it comes to the masses standing up. Okay, we have to stand up and say no to the magic potion that's just been announced, but we should also stand up and say, no, I'm not using your banking system anymore either. If that happens in masses, they have no profit. They have no money. They have to close their doors. It's literally economics, supply and demand. Your demand goes away. There's no need for a bank anymore. People, it's literally, I'm helping build things that can completely negate and circumvent the need for a bank. You can do that. We can do this as humanity. We're not far from it. I think by the end of the year, I showed a chart yesterday of Plan B and how their projections towards the end of the year, we're going to see maybe $135,000 per Bitcoin. I have to ask two questions with that. Is that an inflation number, or is that actual value in that? Because if it's in US dollars, we all know here that the US dollar is worth nothing. But if you think about like in gold or silver, you go find the price of gold. I have a spreadsheet somewhere. You can probably pull it up. I can show you where you can punch the price of silver in and gold, and you can see how many Bitcoins it would take at current prices to kind of go and do that. And that's how I like to value cryptocurrency personally, because that means I'm going to actually store my value in a physical property or physical good. So kind of jump into some stuff that I was kind of looking into, that some articles and whatnot that I thought would be interesting to kind of get my point across a little bit here. Just in general, the past couple of days, weeks, whatever, you've seen Bitcoin kind of consolidate. When a consolidation takes place, like what we're seeing here in any market, you're going to see one of two things. Most of the time, it's a run up. Most of the time, that's pressure building that's going to increase the price in its generalized value. It's going to have this type of healthy pullbacks that we see when you have an asset that runs so hard that it becomes frothy. You're going to have a really, really big pullback. So back in 2017, right, it was in a single day, we had several $1,000 increment increases. That's where it's really, really, really frothy, and it's going to start kind of pulling back. But right now, we are going to see, if this is going to remain healthy, you're going to see a run and a gentle pullback, and a run and a gentle pullback, and a run and a gentle pullback. You want it to take breaths like a swimmer swimming in the water. They have to breathe. Okay? It has to breathe. If it doesn't breathe, it will literally blow off the top and then crash. All right? Just like a swimmer in the pool. If they don't breathe, they'll pass out, and there's a problem. Okay? You have to understand. I used to be a competitive swimmer. My kids are competitive swimmers. Sorry, the analogies are probably elementary, but it gets the point across, I hope. Where was it? Was it this article? Maybe no. No, it's not. I wasn't here. I probably accidentally closed that one. Sorry about that. So I was gonna say, you got this is really, really good news and really, really good something to kind of keep in mind here is you got all of the different crap coming out where you have the single Bitcoin transaction creates as much waste as throwing 2 iPhones away. Guys, you're taking this is something we haven't done before. You're taking energy, economic energy, and you're turning it into financial reward. You're taking a store of an actual value that you can transfer between two people or multiple parties. We've never seen something like that really before, where you can literally take energy and turn it into money without doing anything physically, right? So you do have to set up the miners, you do have to pay for the miners, whatever. But if you go and do proof of stake, you're taking an investment like you would buy in a stock. You then stake those coins, those tokens, and you get a residual return or a residual income from those. All you did was buy something, and now you've got a constant return. It's not like buying a rental property where you have to maintain the house and keep it up and work on it and ensure people are in there renting from you. You buy the asset, you stake the asset, and you get a residual return. Mining is a little bit different. You buy the miner, you set it up, you get a residual income. There's not been anything like that, no asset like that in the history of that I can find or remember. And that's pretty profound. I think Michael Saylor uses a really good example. You had $1 billion building in New York, and somebody was taxing you out of effectively the building, which they do. People who own those buildings, they can't pick those buildings up and move them to somewhere else in the country where the taxation is more favorable, or somewhere else in the world where taxation is more favorable. My opinion on taxation is I'll talk about that on my Patreon because it's not safer out here. By the way, that's why I have the Patreon. Scrolling at the bottom of the screen down there is the link to my Patreon. I have set that up so that I could talk me. That way I could have my opinion without having to be concerned about somebody else's opinion shutting mine down. So much for freedom of speech, right? I think that we're coming to a junction in our world where history will show that freedom of speech will be suppressed. It already is, but I think that we're going to break out of that. I think freedom of speech is going to really become truly free. And once again, we'll be back to where we need to be. From a constitutional perspective, I think that we're heading on that path, and there's a lot of things taking place behind the scenes that not very many people know about, which is a good thing, because if they did, then the enemy would know that as well. And yeah, if you haven't noticed, everyone, we're in an information war. And that's why everything's under attack. That's why your right to say what you want to say is under attack. And that's why I set the Patreon up. It's $5 a month, really just to keep the trolls out. If I could do it openly, I would never have had to set it up. I would just do the 2 shows per day and we'd have fun. So, but alas, that is why that is there. It's so that I can speak my mind, give my opinion, and do things like special interviews with people. Eventually, as the show grows and interest grows in it, then I'll start to try to do interviews with other people in this space, and I'll put it out there for everyone on the Patreon, primarily, so that way, because you guys deserve that information before anyone else does. So, and anyways, we'll come back over here, and sorry about the video there. I guess you call that the dime. Facebook is trying again to do a cryptocurrency. Who here wants to own Facebook's cryptocurrency? I mean, sure, you may actually make money with it. It might, for the masses, do something. But until it's released, until I can actually go and see what's in it, how it works, and how they plan on using it, I'm not going to touch it. I don't touch XRP. I don't touch XRP because it's a banker's coin and it helps support the banking system as it is today. It continues the profit turning for the banksters. When you understand how banking works, when you understand how satanic and evil banking is, not banking, but the owners behind the banking system. It's hard to say this stuff out here. I did a show a couple of weeks or last week about the history of banking and how they own stuff on the Patreon. Some things they own, and it's very hard to find information without going out in the deep to find it. Trying to be cryptic, so let's see. Well, you know what? Thanks, brother. You're an awesome dude right there. Davy Daddy, great guy. If you haven't met him, if you get the opportunity, that man is a gem. He is a gem. He's a blessing to know and an amazing person. He really is. Love you, bro. So I don't know. Yeah, you may make money with this, but I've told you guys before. I don't know if it was on the Patreon or not, but I've showed you guys before that how I pick different coins. I like to look for stuff that actually has a real world use case. Something like XRP, something like, I guess this is Dime. This is a Dime digital wallet trying to solve this, systemic issue. I don't like to support projects that feed platforms like Facebook, feed platforms like our banking system as it is today, and keep them going. You know how many times I've been in Facebook jail for sharing truthful things? You know how many times I've been shut down? I had a Twitter account before that was completely deleted, gone. Tried to log in, it's gone. Everything about it is gone. Just because I was telling the truth about current things that are happening. And again, this is why I've set up the Patreon, so that I can tell the truth about what's going on and not, hopefully, be destroyed for it. But anyways, I'll kind of get off of that soapbox for now, and maybe we'll talk about more about, actually, this afternoon's Patreon, I'm going to kind of go into some recent events that involve tyranny and treason. So you may want to, if you join just for that and want to leave, cool. But I will give you my opinion on some things that have taken place, and yeah, it'll be interesting. So we'll kind of pivot here. Everlasting options and perpetual futures. So there are platforms out there where when you think about DeFi, you can actually really, really make some money with DeFi. And you can come to, like the example I gave earlier, where you have someone who wants to buy a house, you help or be part of the finance of that house, etc. But DeFi in general allows you to literally do something with a DEX, or a decentralized exchange, and you can trade between two people, and you can borrow, and you can do there's so many things that you can do with it. You need to understand derivatives, while are helpful, if you have the underlying asset as part of it, cool. If it's just paper, it's going to cause a problem. Look at the silver market right now. Look at the gold market. The prices you see are manipulated down on purpose so that they can obtain, actually, really it's because I think it's JP Morgan who owns the actual largest short on silver right now. Every dollar that goes up, it costs them billions. So they have to keep it suppressed because they've got a short on it. And then it's got to, If they're going to do well, they have to hit specific price points. And anyways, that's a different show in and of itself entirely. If you want to kind of learn more about that, go to Bix Weir's channel and subscribe to what he says about it. He actually does a really good job explaining that stuff, way better than I ever could. That's kind of his thing there. So Bix, if you're listening, looking forward to meeting you in October. I will be at Bitcoin Ben's event in October on just the Sunday. So that's going to be a fun time for sure. And I absolutely love it. So Avalanche, that's a kind of a new one to me. There's a lot of prominent so-called Ethereum killers, but Avalanche is really trying. I think they're going to try and give Ethereum a run for its money. They have their own flaws, like every project does, but they could do really well against when it comes to Ethereum. Here's, let's back up a little bit from a technical perspective here. I am showing you guys something and not showing you something. So sorry about that. Wow. I clearly need more coffee. Okay. Let's go back. Anyways. So yeah, give you a little bit of a background, or a little bit technical here. Ethereum's just like Bitcoin's first mover to market for cryptocurrency. Ethereum is a monetized token. There is no limit to Ethereum. They can expand and contract the supply all they want. Doesn't matter. Ethereum is a blockchain platform. Most other cryptocurrency or blockchain platforms that we have today were started on the Ethereum platform with an ERC20 token or a smart contract inside of the Ethereum ecosystem. They then launch or build their application or their blockchain inside that, and then they launch their actual blockchain. EOS is a perfect example of that. EOS, I really like that project because they actually performed on what they did, and then they launched the project using a decentralized manner. An entire open source community launched that platform. Block One didn't launch it. They brought it up to the edge and said, all right, community, you want this to go? You want this to be something? You launch it. You build it. And it's been completely community driven ever since, which is fantastic. That they also have a very unique way of processing transactions, the distributed proof of stake. If I remember correctly, that is where you go and you send a transaction, but your compute power has to process 2 other transactions for it to happen. Basically, the more it's used, the faster it gets. It's a pretty cool concept. Dan Larimer really does a really good job when he thinks things through. He also built a constitution into the platform. So that way, the validators, as they are set up, the processing of the transactions, if things are not appropriately followed, then guess what? They get kicked or booted by the smart contract that's running the constitution, and then another one's voted in, et cetera, which is kind of nice. Can I compare Ether to the Fed? You mean like the Federal Reserve? Davy Daddy? You mean like the Federal Reserve? Yes or no? Maybe? Or is it a different coin? I don't know. I'll wait for him to respond. But yeah, Avalanche, there's a bunch of different other projects out there. Solana, Cardano, EOS, I mentioned that one. Neo could probably do it too. There's a bunch of different platforms out there that could take market share from Ethereum. Ethereum is very much so a blockchain platform designed for businesses or for other blockchains to stand up themselves, to go and to, yes, supply. Sure. So Divvy Daddy is requesting that I compare Ethereum to the Federal Reserve. So the way Ethereum, so everyone here, I think, should know how the Federal Reserve supply or is part of creating more monetary supply. As they keep printing money, how soon will crypto eat it up? It already is. So cryptocurrency is a sponge sitting in the ocean of fiat. And it's a big sponge. And it will soak up all the fiat in the world. And it will quite literally become the most valuable. It already is the most valuable asset there is in the world has ever seen. Because, and this goes back to it's quite literally just because of its limited supply. Bitcoin in particular, you guys know I've talked about this, right? Where you have 21 million. Each Bitcoin is divisible by 100 million Satoshis. But there's only ever 21 million that will be in existence. And every year, every 4 years, it's mathematically set up in the program to cut in half. So you're cutting the supply while the demand stays the same or increases. That's going to increase its value because of scarcity. When it's hard to obtain and it's a scarce commodity or a scarce asset, it is a very valuable asset. Ethereum, on the other hand, and well, let's just stick with Ethereum, just for the example. They can create it. Well, XRP too. We'll do that one as well. So Ethereum, but XRP is not a blockchain platform. It's not really designed for smart contracts and stuff. It's really just supposed to be currency. Not to say they couldn't build that or are building it. I don't know. But Ethereum and XRP, they can print as much coins as they want at the couple clicks of a mouse. And then they can contract as much as they want. I talked about this yesterday. There was, I think, $1 billion worth of Ethereum that's been burned or removed from the market to create more scarcity of it. The way Divvy Daddy's explanation here, the Federal Reserve does the same thing. Okay, they print trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, creating an inflationary currency. When you have an inflationary currency, it actually reduces the purchasing power of that currency. They burn literally, or they remove the dollars out of the circulation by our taxes that we pay. So as we pay taxes, it goes to pay the interest on the debt, which we owe to the Federal Reserve and their shareholders. By the way, the Federal Reserve is a privately owned bank. When a bill is cut in Congress, they don't go to the Treasury to get the tax dollars that we pay in. No, they go to the Federal Reserve, to the discount window, and they borrow the money at interest immediately. So the money's created at interest. It's immediate debt. There is not enough money there's not enough currency in circulation to pay back all that money, because now you have to pay whatever percentage more. And it's just this constant circulation of destruction of the dollar, destruction of your purchasing power. It is a hidden tax in and of itself. You need to understand that the environment that we are in from a banking perspective is not conducive for true freedom, for true economics. You want true economics and true freedom, you go to a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, you go to something that is a limited supply. What I like about EOS is that it is a limited supply blockchain platform. There will only ever be so many EOS, and they are a blockchain platform, which is phenomenal. I really like that. I like Cardano. I don't know if their stuff is limited supply. I actually don't know that one. I need to look at that. But if it's limited supply, that'd be fantastic. But at the end of the day, Ethereum has promised the world that they're going to launch Ethereum 2.0, which is where they're going to allow staking, okay, which turns it more into a capitalist environment rather than where basically you go buy, or you have a handful of Ethereum, you stake it, you help support that network, rather than the miners just creating the Ethereum out of the blockchain like Bitcoin does. Cool thing about Bitcoin, like I said, it's limited supply, and it reduces its supply output every 4 years approximately. It's not like it's a specific date. It has to have so many blocks have to be mined, and process or transactions processed, things like that. I was going somewhere with this. Anyways, thank you, Divvy Daddy. The max supply of Cardano is 45 billion coins. So not as limited as Bitcoin, but it is still limited, which is fantastic. From a blockchain perspective and a blockchain platform, having a limited supply ensures that the value that it obtains from its usage, from its investing, from people getting into it and using it, it will always have value. Now, I don't know if they're going to reduce supply, but if they do, that will create more scarcity, which is where. So 30. Okay, so what DVD is here? They have 45 billion total. We have 32 billion released to the public. I don't know if they burned any, but if they do, then it will reduce the supply, creating a higher price because of the demand has not changed. This is all basic economics 101. Didn't know you're getting an economics lesson today, but yeah, fun stuff. So yeah, basically what, as I've said before on my show, this is not financial advice. I cannot give that to you. It's not legal advice. It's not tax advice. And naturally, if I just dropped, sorry, I'm getting a notice on my screen here that my connection is poor. It's not. The router's right there, and I'm hardwired to it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm saying something they don't like, but anyways, like, subscribe, and share to my videos, please. I appreciate it. Join the Patreon show. Today I'm going to cover, like I said earlier, recent tyrannical things, recent treasonous things. It's $5 a month. I really appreciate those of you who have joined. It's really only to keep the trolls out, and so that I could talk and say what I want to say. But at the end of the day, can't give you legal advice, can't give you tax advice, can't give you financial advice. This is for education purposes only and entertainment. Hopefully you've had a few fun times here. But you really, really should look at cryptocurrency and as an investment vehicle for your future. We have to get out of the banking system as we know it. We have to get out of the economic system as it is set up today. Cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, it gives humanity freedom. It gives us the ability to actually have a free future because it allows us to decide what we want to do without being concerned about what other people are going to say or do, or stopping you, or saying, oh, yep, nope, you can't buy this, or because you don't have the magic potion, you can't eat here, you can't do that, You go stand up a crypto restaurant. Guess what? They can't eat there because they can't buy anything there because their money's no good there. What about that? Things like that. We have an ability right now as humanity to go do these things, and I think it's an opportunity that we have not had before. Bitcoin is an apex currency. Bitcoin is an apex asset. You really, really need to look into it. Anyways, you guys have been great. I will have a Patreon show at 4:30 today. Links scrolling down the bottom if you feel like joining. You don't have to, but the information in there is a lot more open about what I want to say. You guys have a blessed afternoon, and we'll talk to you later.